Hello, welcome to Survival ABCs. I apologize in advance for the shakiness of the camera. I seem to have misplaced my tripod. Anyways, I shot this video review of my knife last week, but unfortunately the video did not turn out very well, so I thought I'd do a reshoot of it. I bought this knife almost 2 weeks ago, and at the time of when I shot the video, it's still very new and I barely used it, but I've done some testing with it, stripping bark off wood, doing some batoning, picking, stuff like that. And so far it's held up quite nicely. This is the Cold Steel SRK. SRK stands for Survival Rescue Knife. This is, as you can see on the blade here, this is the VD-1 Japan version. SRK. So you can see there's obviously a little bit of scratches, not much. This spot right here I've used to strike with my ferro rod. Worked out okay, it worked out reasonable. See a little bit of wear there, but not much. So far my impressions of this knife are very good. I really like this knife so far. It's really making me happy. I have 3 types of blades that I generally use, as I explained in previous videos. One which is basically a heavy duty knife, which is my BK2. I have a smaller knife which is my Mora, that's for the light duty carving. And this is the knife that I often refer to as the middleman knife. This is sort of like a combination of both heavy duty as well as the light duty work. So it's nice lightweight, but it still is got some good thickness to it too. I think that's almost a quarter, give or take. I actually got a tape measure right here, but I don't have my tripod, unfortunately, so I can't really hold the tape and the knife with both hands at the moment. But overall, so far in the time I've been using it, it came straight out of the box razor sharp, and it still is very razor sharp even to right now. I also like the fact that they got this little space right here where the blade ends right there, so you can choke up the blade and really hold up close for the fine carving. I've done some light chopping with it as well as batoning with it, and it's done quite nicely. I found that during batoning, especially, when batoning, when I'm hitting the block of wood here, I found that when I bring the baton down, it tends to bounce off and go this way a little bit. So I tilted the blade slightly this way. That way, when I hammered it downwards, it stayed reasonably straight, and I found I was losing power in my stroke hitting the blade to baton, but overall, even then it did quite nicely. I got a tape measure right here. The blade length is overall is about 6 inches long. Like the actual blade, sharp blade is only about roughly 5 inches. That there is actually about roughly 5 1/8 actually, but yeah. So. But I still, like I said, I like that little spot right there where I can just choke up the blade a little bit. From the start of the handle to the bottom, that's about 4 5/8. The overall length is roughly 10 5/8 right there. Almost even 3/4. Oops. I originally had some paracord on here, but I kept messing around with the straps when I had it on my belt, so I took it off for a while. I've made some modifications to the sheath itself. This is I can't remember the proper name of it off the top of my head, but it's the plastic sheath. It's very durable, very tough. I had paracord on here, but I actually took it off. I found that the paracord was, I don't know, I just decided to take it off. I found it just to be a useless thing. I'd rather have the stuff that's in the pouch right now. So this knife can actually lock itself into here when you're pulling it in and out. There's a little space kind of right there where you press your thumb on it, as well as the nice little belt loop with a nice little button lock. I also really like the fact that this is a Velcro underneath here. You can actually open this up, and that there's a button as well, but it's also held with Velcro, so it's a nice little feature that they have both there to make sure it stays securely on your belt. I've noticed that this sheath, same with my K-Bar BK2 knife, it has a very similar sheath. It sort of locks itself in there, and when I first got it, it kept getting stuck in there, so to speak. It's like really, really strong. And for a while I decided that, over time I kept, pulling it out and putting it back in just over and over when I first got it, and it helped to loosen it up quite a bit. So I was able to do it one-handed instead of having to pull with two. And I pushed on the knife sheath. I'll just give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Basically, when I'm drawing up my knife, I had to push my thumb onto there just with my BK2, and it helps. But with this one, however, even after some time of using it, it still remained very heavy. It was really hard to put the knife back in, to click it in place, and really tough to pull it out. There was a lot of times where I'm pushing my thumb against here, just trying to get the knife out. It hurts my thumb quite a bit, and I've almost got a blister kind of thing from it. I just popped it yesterday and a little bit of blood, but nothing serious. But so I made some modifications to the sheath itself just to help get the knife in and out a lot more easier. The first one, and one of the reasons why I'm using my phone here to do this, is so it's a little more HD and you can see it a little bit better. Right on the edge, right here, going right across here, there was a really sharp lip. You can't see the lip anymore. It was like right there. And I was pushing my thumb right against it, and it was sharp, and it kept digging into my thumb, hurting my thumb quite a bit just to draw the knife out. And I took sandpaper and very gently just scrubbed it a little bit, just like that, just to take that sharp edge. Right now it's nice and rounded off. And that helped a bit, but even then it still was very, very difficult to get in and out. As you can see, that line right there, this line right inside the sheath, there's one right there. I'm not sure how good you can see that, but there's one on this side. There it is. Those are what actually helps lock it in place, and I found that those were actually very sharp. They're like a pointed tip to them. So I actually took some sandpaper and rounded that off a little bit, just gave it a little scrubbing. You see the markings on the inside of the sheath right there, all that coating that's kind of like taken off. And it's now that bit there is actually rounded off a little bit. So now when I've been drawing my knife out of the sheath, I can do it with my thumb, no problem. It doesn't hurt at all, and it comes in and out so much more easier. It still stays in there quite nicely. I tip it upside down, give it some really hard shakes. There's no movement at all, but it stays in there really nicely. And now I can actually draw the knife out of the sheath very, very easily now. And it's also very much easier to put it back in there as well. When putting it back in there, I had to force it. Sometimes I had to use two hands, and it took a while to get it in and out, especially when you're just like around camp and you got to use it so much. So anyways, now it's a lot more easier. It's not more nicer to pull in and out. So lastly, I got this pouch here attachment. On my other ones, I got pouches attached, but they're like on there and they're not coming off. This one I put on with just some zip ties. I want this pouch to be removable if I so needed to. Victorinox, I got this at a knife store. This is actually a little multi-tool case, strap of Velcro. I'm not going to pull everything. I'm not going to pull it out. I can't really do it one-handed very well. But in there, excuse me, I got wet fire tinder right there. Right there is a little to the tip of the speedy sharpener. I also got a ferro rod, elastic band, and a striking piece for it. Those are the things I chose to put in here, just fire making tools, as well as the speedy sharpener for my knife. So I'm not going to put a big pouch on it and a lot of gear in it like I did with my other knives. I want to keep this one relatively lightweight on my belt, especially the BK2. With the pouch is very heavy on my belt. It weighs down my pants. My Schrade, which is my middle hand knife originally, had a similar problem. So I decided to keep this pouch very small and detachable if I so needed to. So overall, this knife, I give this nice thumbs up. I really like the rubber pad and grip, and the nice little spot right here to stop your fingers from sliding up on the blade. The full tang construction, of course, and but the bottom of the tang is obviously covered, but no biggie. It's nice and grippy. I really like it. It's been doing really nicely. So this is my new bush knife that I'm using. So this is the Cold Steel SRK Survival Rescue Knife. Survival ABCs. See you around.